Welcome back to another episode of Excuse My Grandma. It's Kim and my co-host.
Grandma Gail.
Grandma, what is new with you?
Well, we're in Florida still, and the weather, of course, has been picture perfect. There's no clouds in the sky, which is really great. And
Do you get seasonal depression?
no, I don't get depressed. So it doesn't matter what season it is. That's not my personality. I try to always be on the positive side. And
Yeah, but you can be a positive
Well, I
person and
think-
still get depressed.
Yeah, well, I get depressed
Like
about
me.
certain terrible things that might happen to people,
Mm-hmm.
but then I really get out of it very quickly because I realize that most things are good, and I really
Yeah.
like to be positive.
You practice perspective, but like a lot of people, like they'll just feel sad for no reason.
Well, they have to learn how to cope with that and we've discussed that, put the bad things in a certain part of your mind and try to keep it there, lock it away, and only have good thoughts. I mean, what I'm really thinking about this week, and I think the whole country, was Damar Hamlin's release from the hospital and is back in Buffalo after only 9 days of going from cardiac arrest to getting back into his home. It's a miracle, and it's made everyone who watched the game or heard about the game, I think it's probably every 300 and some odd million, 300 million people, appreciate that a young person who's healthy and is on a field and running around with a ball for no reason can just go into cardiac arrest and your life could be wiped out in a nanosecond.
Talk about perspective.
That's exactly right. And I think everybody really pulled together and was praying for him. And I think all the prayers came forward. And he's such an aspirational young man. I think they raised for his, he did a whole toy drive way before this for underprivileged children. And I think he raised, several $1,000s when he was doing it. Now I think it's several million that have been given in his honor because everybody was really moved by the young man and his love of the team and the team who loves him and his coaches. I mean, there was a good sports story, and I'm not a sports person, but it was something to really think good things for the new year, that you had something that really good came out of it. And when he did the little heart in his hand to his teammates last Sunday from his hospital, it was fabulous. So I wish him all the luck. Excuse my grandma wants to send him hugs and kisses. I went to an interesting lecture yesterday, sponsored by the Washington Institute, which is a think tank out of Washington, and they discuss mostly the scholars and residents at the Institute deal with Middle Eastern affairs. It's a non-political group, and they have very brilliant scholars, and I listened to two people that really, they were wonderful, and then they got on a subject that, Kim, I really is dear to both your heart and mine, is intolerance on college campuses. And they're very active. They go from, they're two gentlemen from the group that go, they've been to over 100 universities.
I feel like I see you going to lectures all the time, but like none of my friends are like, oh, let's check out this lecture as like a weekend activity. And it would kind of be a nice way to open your mind, but like where do you even find that?
Well, you absolutely have them at Hunter. In Manhattan evening classes that are really open to all.
Well, maybe they don't have a
92nd Street
time for
Y.
classes, but just seeing one thing.
Well, I think that's probably fine. I wasn't taking a class
Yeah.
either. But, if something interests you, the city, especially New York, I know I used to go to, not NYU, oh gosh, I can't think of the outlet that I used to, for classes on political science. What's the school downtown? The New School. I'm sorry, the New School, and they have loads of classes by people who have different points of view, and you just go to the lecture you want, and it's terrific. You're finished with work, and sometimes you don't feel like sitting home and just doing nothing for your brain. And these schools that we have all over Manhattan, and we have them a lot in Florida too, with FAU and a lot of other small universities and colleges all over the country offer these at night classes that people can audit.
Yeah, at any age, it's like good to
Any
keep
age.
learning, and
You never should stop learning
Yeah.
to the day you die, because it's an important thing for your health to keep yourself motivated and listening to, what's happening in the world and also other people's opinions.
And I feel like I would say the same even with like socializing. Like
Yeah.
it's always good to meet up with friends and meet new
Meet
people
new
and go to
people.
parties and whatever.
Not only parties, but just to sit and have lunch or dinner with new people and listen to their conversation. Sometimes the conversation is ridiculous,
Yeah.
but sometimes you really get somebody there that shoots out an idea that you really think about very often.
Yeah.
And that's
Or it
very
doesn't have
good.
to be so deep.
Right.
Like sometimes it's just fun.
Yes.
Remember fun?
Fun. No, I don't remember fun anymore. You have to remind me about what fun is.
Well, this weekend is a long weekend, MLK. I wonder if there'll be anything going on for that. Like,
I don't know. I'm going back to New York.
Oh, yeah.
So
And then I'm meeting you there next week, and we're going to
have
film
a
some
lot of
podcasts.
A lot of podcasts are happening in New York next week.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm actually looking forward to seeing my neighborhood again and doing some activities that with some friends in the city that I haven't seen in a while. And I miss them. So, when you're down here for a period of time in this beautiful area where you never see a cloud, and you have no issues with anything, you go back to what a real world looks like. I have to get into shape.
Yeah. Well, we're also going to be guests on other people's podcasts, so we'll tell you once those episodes are out. This past week, we were on Jared Freed's podcast, J Train, who's a comedian, and so you can check us out on there, too, if you want to listen to more of us. But in the meantime, if you're all caught up on all of our episodes so far, go do that if you're not. You don't want to miss out on anything, and hopefully you're still following us on social media. And if you don't know how to do that, ask your friends or grandkids or kids. Some popular TikToks that we did this week, or Instagram videos, I should say. I post the same thing mostly on both. We had lunch with two people.
Superstars.
Who a lot of people may know, Dennis Basso and Adrian Arpel. We had lunch with them and we posted a video about that, and they gave
and their attitudes on dating.
Yeah.
That differ from the 50s, 60s, 70s and 80s and today.
Yeah,
so
like
that
then
was fun.
Then versus now, and which was better.
Well, I don't know. I think what we all realized that there were different pluses and minuses in each generation, and it was fun being with them because they were always a lot of fun. And Adrian created one of the largest cosmetic industry successes, and Dennis has done very well too in the apparel business and high fashion. But it's fun to hear their perspective on how dating is so different today, and it was a giggle. We had a lot of fun.
And speaking of fashion, since you always wear those white button downs, people wanted an insight into your closet on which of your shirts you wore and all the different types and designers. So you shared that as well for your white shirts.
And it's the funniest thing is a friend of mine came up to me this week and said, I have something for you and Kim to do. You should go into the blouse business and make little white shirts. I said, we haven't got enough time to do our podcasts and our TikToks and all our other things.
We always have time.
But if a company comes out and brings me a white shirt product that I like, because I have to endorse it, I have to like it. The ones I wear are things I've worn for years and I really, really love.
Brooks Brothers.
We'll put our name on it.
Yeah, you love Brooks Brothers the most.
Let's not give Brooks Brothers any more publicity because they're not paying us.
Yeah.
And I think they should.
And you like the Uniqlo ones.
I love the Uniqlo.
Yeah.
The Uniqlo products. By the way, for those people who don't know, it's a worldwide store. Manufacturing store. It's all over New York, and it's in London. It's all over the world. It's a Japanese store that specializes in warm clothing, because I guess it gets very cold in Japan in the winter, and they have like pants that are insulated, they have t-shirts that are insulated, they have fabulous products at terrific prices. I wear their vests all the time. I always go in there, and for $20 you get the best vest in the world. You put it under your coat and you feel cozy, and they just are at a price point that's so good for everyone. And I really firmly believe that you don't have to pay a lot of money to either look good or feel good. So those people who are near one of those stores, or even they sell online, you should definitely go to their website. We're not being sponsored by them either, but they're one of my favorite secrets that I just love.
What else? got ready. I helped you pick an outfit for a party that was 1950s themed.
Right.
You
Yeah.
weren't the
I wasn't
most
very
50s.
good. No, I wasn't very good. I didn't have any. The other girls who won the prize all wore poodle skirts and a cinch belt with the two and a little really round wore outfits that were great. So it was fun. The party itself was spectacular because they had Jared Spector and his group sing all the songs, actually his wife, and then another couple. They travel all over, I guess, the United States doing these different show things. But they did it to all the numbers of Grease. And so it was terrific. It was great. Everyone had a good time. It's the first time I've seen people not get up and leave a party early. Everybody waited and gave them a standing ovation, which they really did deserve. We loved it.
Mm-hmm. The other day, all of our family friends are down here for the holidays, and we were talking to my friend who just got engaged recently, and he was saying they were setting up their wedding registry. But the thing is, they already live together, which is something we talk about on here a lot, that, like, you know, couples nowadays, they live together before getting engaged or married. And they're like, so usually on a registry, I guess you would put things that you would get for the home,
like silverware and glasses, and both of them, he and she, both said we got all that stuff when we moved in together.
Right. It's not like they're going to a new place where they need new stuff.
So they said they were asking our opinion on what you would do, and I honestly was like taken aback because, you know, when I got engaged and before my wedding, the registry was all those things. You know, I didn't do linens because I don't think in those days we did linens for some reason. But we'd had all the dishes and glassware and the casual things. And what I said to this young woman is, you know what, register for like 24 good china. Don't register for every day because you already own it. So I think what happens is, since it seems to be the trend that almost everybody lives together several months before they get married, and this couple isn't living that long together, which I think is right. They're living together maybe 6 months or whatever, and then they're getting married in the fall. Just register for things that you might use in a future time. Better flatware, perhaps.
But why does it have to be things for the home?
Well, I don't know. I think that's you. Well, a lot. I just went to a wedding actually in September where the couple registered for luggage, which is very nice. But you can't register for a whole room full of luggage. I mean, you know. So I mean, that happens to be a good item, and I did suggest that to them as well. But you can't ask people to pay for your honeymoon.
Right.
I mean, it's gotta be some kind of material item that they can go into a store or go online and buy. But I think now people do buy linenware, linens, and you know, all types of things, accessories for the home, and. You know, it's a pain when it's not something you really want. And I think that was the whole idea of the registry.
Right.
That people would not send you extraneous kind of candlesticks that you would never want to use. And it's a waste. It's very expensive. And you don't want to just, you know, either return them or not be able to use them at all.
And does everybody do a registry? I mean, none of my friends have gotten married. I haven't gone to a wedding. I don't know the protocol.
Well, I think young people who are going up for a first marriage, usually do a registry, of whatever level you want to register at. I think if it's a second or a third marriage, no, I would imagine they don't. But, you know, it's just the idea that people are going to buy gifts. Mm-hmm. And unless you're giving money, which I'm sure checks are still always... always acceptable.
Yeah. I do see a lot of people doing like charity donations.
Well, I think that is for an established couple who are very well-to-do. I'm not sure. And I think it's a great idea, by the way. I think young couples in their 20s and 30s, you know, basically, I think would like to do something for themselves. And but if they do want charity, I'd be the first one to say that's what I'm going to send it to. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so maybe people can write in and tell us
some other suggestions. So we can give it to them.
Yeah.
We were talking actually even, you know, about the honeymoon and stuff like that. And they want to go, which was interesting, and I think it's true. They've lived together, they've traveled together, but they want to both go to a place that they haven't been together. And
yeah, of course. Like versus what?
Well, if they're going to Paris, they might have both been in Paris.
Right.
They want to go someplace that's new to both of them.
Okay.
So, which I think is, you know,
that's
a new
fair.
experience.
Yeah.
A new experience.
I agree with that.
You can always end up in Paris.
I was just going to say, you can always add that on and do both.
Right. I mean, I think almost I'd like to go, if I was a honeymooner today going on a honeymoon, maybe Montana in the summer. I would love to do
I did that
things like-
once.
did you? It's beautiful.
Yeah, with mom and dad and Matt.
Well, that's not a honeymoon.
No, I didn't do a honeymoon once.
Right,
I did
right.
that trip once.
But they say it's so beautiful. That's the one state that I have not been
That
in.
I think it's my favorite state
that's what a
besides
lot
like
of
New
people
York
say.
and Florida.
Well, loads of people are moving out there, especially during COVID. That was a very hot move to go to because
It's just
it is
beautiful.
and everything is so spaced
Yeah.
apart, so you're not on top of one
Right,
another. So
right.
beautiful, yeah.
Mhm.
That's
I don't
nature.
know if I would want a honeymoon that's more like Fiji or something where it's like island vibes, or if I would want something super cultural, like maybe going to Japan or China and like really experiencing a new culture.
I think, my opinion, it depends how long you've lived together. If you've lived together a long time, then going on a cultural one is sort of a treat because
Yeah.
you're spending money on something you both could learn something
Right.
from. If you're basically maybe 6-8 months into
Well-
living together, that's not that long. You probably haven't done that much traveling together.
Yeah.
And I think then it might be nice to mix it. Like do some kind of relaxation
Right.
and then go off and
I feel
do
like you need
something.
some relaxation.
Right.
It's not like
especially after the wedding.
yeah, it's a
Because
honeymoon.
a lot of, I think for the woman, I mean, that what I see on television, I mean, that wasn't the case for me because I didn't do anything. I let my mother handle everything. I didn't really care. I was just happy I was getting married. It must have been something wrong with me. But anyway, I think that the woman needs to chill out a little and really get back to feeling like a human being again and not frazzled by all the people aren't coming. Where should I seat them? Are the flowers too pink? I mean, all this silly nonsense
Yeah.
that goes along.
It's a lot of like decision making.
Decision making, but silly decisions. I mean, you're not invading China.
Yeah.
You're not staging World War III against North Korea. You're basically doing silly things, but it does stress you out, and it seems all the brides go through it.
Yeah.
And also, I would tell brides today, don't get crazy with the wedding dress. All that stuff on television, with this wedding dress and that wedding dress. Just get something that you like, look pretty. You're going to wear this dress once, and don't spend your entire fortune that's in your bank account on the dress. Make it look simple, nice, and or over the top if you want it with beading or whatever you want to put on it, but don't take your whole budget and do it on a wedding dress. It's so overdone. I must say, I wore mine once. And
Where is yours?
It was in a box, and I gave it to my mother to hold in her house when she had a home. And then when they moved, she threw out my dress and kept another
No.
dress that was her mother's or hers.
Like thinking that it was yours.
Exactly. It was the wrong dress.
Oh,
so
no.
that was it. It probably would have been horrible anyway.
Yeah,
was a
but
very
it's
pretty
sentimental,
dress.
right?
Would have been sentimental. I thought for a minute maybe my daughter was going to wear it, but she went on.
Hers is pretty 80s.
Right. Hers was very full skirted. Mine was
Yeah.
very straight.
She has hers. I don't think I've seen it, but she has it somewhere because she was talking about it the other day.
Well, hers was. She looked beautiful in it. So
I don't know if I would. I mean,
but
wear
she was very,
her dress.
very Cinderella
S-
looking. It was
yeah.
a full skirt.
Like princessy.
Right. But she
I
was a
kind of
size
like that
2,
though.
So she looked very pretty.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't have been for me.
Yeah. She said she was so skinny
She
during her
was.
wedding.
Well, she was very nervous.
Oh, why?
She was very nervous. She only went with your father 7 years. I
Yeah.
don't know what she was. But they were young kids. Even though they went together and were together, they really, I guess they were both nervous. I think they both were.
That's scary.
Yeah. Well, that's
I
what
feel
it
like
is.
having doubt is really
It wasn't doubt.
Yeah.
I don't think it was doubt. I think it was just nerves.
Yeah.
Getting in front of everybody. And
Right,
knowing
right.
that it's final. You've culminated. Your relationship is hitting the peak.
I guess. I don't know.
They're still married, so
Yeah.
I guess they worked it out.
Yeah. Okay, let's answer some listener questions. One of them, this is, I guess, relevant. Of your favorite travel spots?
My favorite travel spot has always been London and Paris.
Mm-hmm.
But I must say I've added a third place, which is Morocco. I loved it. I like the culture. I love the people.
And where do you stay there? Are there like lots of options? Or
Well, there are a couple of options.
Okay.
I mean, I stayed in a big old hotel that I had stayed in maybe 40 years ago with your mom and my son. and my husband. But Mamunya, which is a wonderful old hotel, but a beautiful piece of property. But it's not about. Then there's a hotel that the king owns. That's a beautiful property. There are also some other less expensive hotels that are all very, very nice. It's not about the hotel; it's about the culture. And you go out into the Medinas, and you see the markets, and you see all the different things along in the country in the Atlas Mountains. It's beautiful. And it's many, many different things that you can see. You can see the city, which is sophisticated, and then you see a rural area where they make all the Moroccan oil, and you see the women in their groups making the oil, which I did go see them make the oil, and I bought some, of course. But it's a beautiful country. I think everything is country. Traveling is very broadens your whole perspective on what people are like, and that you can find wonderful things no matter where you go. I mean, I also loved India. India was a terrific trip. But these are all trips that are exciting and experiences, and for different types of reasons.
Yeah. A lot of people write in asking, like, saying they're coming to Palm Beach and where should they eat and where should they stay?
Well, if you're coming to Palm Beach, you should come in April or May when all the rest of the people are gone.
It is really busy, and it's really hard to get a reservation.
Exactly. This I found the last, I guess, because so many people from different places have started migrating south. Miami is the same conversation. You can't get into restaurants. You have to make reservations a long time in advance, and it's a hassle because it's not like a big city where you have 1,000 restaurants to choose from.
But it's almost easier to give advice then because there's like 10 options.
Yeah, but it's not, even if you give the advice, they're not going to get in. So what's the difference? You just look on your travel log.
There are things on Resi and Open
I was just
Table.
Say, that's what you have to do.
What do you think are the most important character traits in a man?
For me, it was to be loved by someone unconditionally. And I think that's fair, to be someone who really thought I was the greatest, and that was the end of the conversation. There was nobody better than me. Character traits was that he would be honest and kind.
Yeah.
And maybe a little bit. Actually, I always said I need somebody very smart because I did want them to be successful in whatever area they chose to be. But I think. The idea of being faithful and good to me personally was very important.
It was interesting. That just reminded me of, I went on a date like months ago, and someone was like, the guy said, what are you looking for? And I think I was like, someone who makes me a priority, who is loyal, who's kind, whatever. And then he was like, that's really interesting that all of those things are kind of like about how they treat you and not like what you yourself are like looking for, something specific about them. And I was like,
that's not the question you're asking. You asked me a question, what am I looking for?
Right. That's
so
what
he reversed it back to what he wanted.
No, he asked, what are you looking for?
Well,
so I said someone who...
I think you gave the right answer.
But he was like, they're interesting that it's like in relation to you.
Well, naturally.
Well, yeah, right?
Yeah. I mean, is it what you want to do together and how you want to do something in life as a couple? That's a whole different question. But from your perspective, I think you gave the right answer.
Yeah, I don't really know what... I guess
he wanted to know maybe how you were going to... I guess divide your life between the careers and
no, I don't think that was the question. I think it was, I guess you could have been like someone funny, but I was saying someone who is XYZ to me. But I think that's almost better. Like you should know in relation to yourself.
Absolutely.
I don't know. It's kind of like a weird comment.
All right. Okay. We didn't see him again anyway.
No. Do you have any beauty secrets?
Beauty secrets?
Yeah.
Yeah. Drink a lot of water and stay out of the sun.
Oh. Kidoki.
One more thing. I got 2 people who called me, texted me that they love the idea of increasing the walking. So as one of my resolutions, and they said they're doing it too. So I'm hoping.
How's that going?
Well, it's going. I'm doing it. I'm walking around, and I think
But
I'm
you're
doing
not
much more.
But you don't put on sneakers and walk
No,
around.
but it's not that. That has nothing to do with it. We
Oh.
discussed this. We just have to move.
Yeah.
We're moving. So I just want to say, good. Keep doing it, everybody, because I think that was one of the best resolutions for 2023.
All right, that's really it for this week. We will have some exciting interviews for you, some more solo episodes over the next few weeks. And you know how to follow us. We're Excuse My Grandma on Instagram and TikTok. And we'll see you next week.